So, hi everyone, welcome to our first online stream from Vue.js Berlin. And I see we are at like 17 people for now, so hopefully we get more audience. But this is our like first test for the meetup, and we'll see how it goes in the future. Maybe we will continue. Hopefully everyone, you can hear me. If you can confirm on the chat, if you can all hear me, that would be really awesome. And yes, so what's the agenda for today? So for today we have at 7, that's me, that's introduction, short introduction. Then at 7:15 roughly, we will have presentation optimizing Nuxt from Tarun. And after that, we will have Samuel Snopko, Blazingly Fast, going headless with Nuxt. So we will have like really Nuxt focused presentation. Awesome. So yeah, perfect. You can hear me. So yeah, and after that, we will see me and Norman, like the organizers of the meetup. We will have just chat, and we'll see chat with the audience, and we'll see what we will do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What we will do now. So just I will prepare the first speaker, and I will be back soon with the presentation. So we are back, and I have speaker already ready, so I guess we can start sooner. It doesn't matter. So I will introduce Tarun. He will talk about optimizing Nuxt.js from our farm to your table. So without further ado, I will give a talk. I will give a word to our guest, and it's your turn, Tarun.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are good. Thank you for giving me opportunity. You there or not? I mean, yeah. Okay, sure. You can hear me. Sorry, you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think, hey guys, I'm from India. My name is Tarun, and I'm mostly working on Nuxt.js, Vue.js, and many front-end technologies. I'm also working on some of the DevOps and stuff like that. So I'm a co-founder and CTO of Icon Scout. It's a design resource marketplace, and today's presentation basically comes from how we optimize Icon Scout like for space period. So we have like more than 250 components and more than 100 pages on Icon Scout, which are being served using SSR, right? So we usually we have around 2 million pages right now indexed on Google. Right, so we are managing SSRs and optimizing those stuff. Right, so we started doing experimenting with Vue.js a year back. Right, at that time we had our page speed core, Google page speed core score, which we manage usually. Right, for looking at how good the performance is. Right, so that was around 40, and right now we have reached to 80, 85, and there are many more optimization already upcoming. Right. So I think I hope this presentation will help you to look into that. How can you optimize your own maybe a million pages site, or let's say a small product, right? So hope that will be useful. And you guys can see my screen. Okay, yeah, okay, you can see. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's start like uh, 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 okay, so overall, the things we are covering will be, why should we optimize, or why should we increase the speed, right? Because as a developer, we are more into coding and we like to experiment new code, new library. We do play with the new libraries as and anytime we find a new library, we just npm install and stuff like that. So, why the optimization is useful, and the main topic will be there for a slide. Then why not pure Vue.js? Right? So I earlier learned Vue.js as a like 2 years back, and then I learned Vue router, Vuex to state management and stuff. Right? Then eventually I came to know about Nuxt project, and I started using that for a side project, and then right now I'm using even if I want to put up a simple Vue.js project to try out a Vue itself, or maybe any simpler component, I usually put up Nuxt only. I don't use Vue directly, right? Because it gives some of the out of the box functionality. Right? So I'll tell you about how can Nuxt be useful in some rather than Vue.js in terms of speed and performance. And obviously that's based on Vue only, right? Then which are the tools which that can be useful, right? So the main aspect of optimization or any improvement is that we need to know, right, like how till which stage we have reached, right? So we need to know continuously look at the states and metrics to be taken care, right? Then there are some of the HTML CSS optimization methods which are there, or I think many of us might be using them already, right? Then what are the things that you can you can take care of, right? That will cover in JS code optimization, right? So there are many methods that's by, let's say, a webpack. Then some of the tricks that I use to optimize website like EcoScout, right? So we'll go into that. And then there are some of the other optimization techniques which you can use to speed up more go into deep. So let's begin with why. So I can see your YouTube chat. I mean, I'm able to see you guys on chat, right? So whenever I ask a question, or we can have conversation via chat, right? So I'll ask the question and you can answer me, or maybe you can support me via there, right? So how many of you think that speed improvement is something you are looking into in upcoming, or you have worked on, or you think that's an important? How many of you think that? You can reply to the chat itself. I'll mark it live chat. Okay, perfect. Okay, I can see many people are left. Philip, Fabio, Christos, Norman. Right. So how many of you think that it's important to have or improve the speed of the site? Okay, so we'll. Hello. Am I audible? Someone is telling me he lost the sound. How many of you think that speed improvement is important for you? Maybe there might be some issue from my end. Yes, correct, correct. Right. So let's go into like why question, right? So I think many of the marketing people usually tell us these states and they, tell us how important it is, right? So we'll go on one or two states on why is it important, right, to improve the speed, right? Okay. So usually, like all of us, even being a developer, right, we know that the site may take time, but right, site may take time to load, right? But what is the ideal time for end user to wait for, right? So ideally, user can wait for 6 to 10 seconds. Like 30% of user can wait for 6 to 10 seconds to load the website. Right. And if you go beyond 6 to 10 seconds, then you will see drop of the user, right? Yeah, eventually one by one, right? So Google is also like telling us to go with mobile first, right? And then they are also telling us to, improve the speed, use some caching methodology and stuff to improve the speed, right? So this is from the user chart that how like let's say 3% user wants that their pages should load before 3 seconds, then 16% of users are like that the page should load between uh, 5 seconds, right? Then 66 to 10 seconds and many more, right? So the thing is, usually in e-commerce, we Neil Patel. I think you might know Neil Patel. He's a very good in SEO guy. Like he's good into marketing and stuff, right? So he tells us that usually 1 second delay in a page response can result in a 7% reduction in conversion rate, right? So if let's say that's your e-commerce product, or let's say that's a blog, right? So there can be 7% less users on your blog or on your customer or in any your targeted audience, right? So that can if you add one more second to so it's like if you reduce your increase your speed by 1 second, your conversion rate can increase, let's say, up to 7%. Right. So obviously, like as if we are into SaaS tool, if we are making a SaaS tool or any side product or even a blog, right? So we want our users to stay with us. We want them to browse more through the site, right? So it's very important to improve the speed, and even 1 second can matter, right? Because usually when we are working as a developer, we are working on fast computer, fast internet. So we don't like get to know that the site is slow, right? But when we go to, let's say, end user, so they will feel slow sites and laggy site in that devices, right? Due to multiple issues, network, then that device performance speed and many other things, right? So then comes the next question is why not pure Vue.js, right? So obviously, like Nuxt.js is based on Vue.js. So what are the good advantages from Nuxt that it gives us to the benefits of Nuxt versus Vue, right? So usually this is mostly doesn't apply to single page web applications, right? So usually when we are working on in a team or in a on any product, right? So we have okay. Yeah, so we have multiple pages. Let's say we have admin, we have a dashboard, we have front pages, some of the other landing pages, right? So we'll be using, let's say, Vue.js plus Vue routers. Then we might have some of the states that needs to be managed. Let's say user login and user other area, their settings, their profile, and then that n number of their likes, their favorites, and stuff like that. So we need to manage those things in Vuex, right? And then we might have some other things too, right? So we like we when we are working with native Vue.js, so we'll have to optimize even webpack config, right? So what Nuxt gives is that it gives us first thing is it gives us this Vue router which is already lazy loaded, right? So you you might have heard of that. Lazy loading is one of the important aspects, right? So if let's say if you have a home page, then we'll only load the components related to home page only. Let's say if we have, let's say, admin pages or dashboard, right? So we'll only load the page which is related to those routes, right? So one thing that Nuxt gives is this auto inbuilt optimization methods, right? It also gives us the folder structure, right? Because whenever we start with any library or new framework, right, we need to know that how where should I put my Vue files, where should I put my JavaScript files, where should I put my images or CSS assets, JavaScript assets, or any other assets, right? Then there can be any static files or everything, right? So using Nuxt, one advantage is that it gives us out of the box view routing, auto auto improved view routing, which automatically loads uh, components on demand, right? Then folder structure, that is something they have managed very well, right? You have pages, you have components directory, right? We have static directory, right? So they have managed all the assets directory, right? So we don't have to Google through like what can be good folder structure for that, right? So that is also one more advantage, right? Then there are many other Webpack optimizations already implemented in Nuxt.js. Right. For example, if you don't use Vuex, then it will automatically remove the Vuex from the code. Right. It won't include that in the bundle. Right. So if you use that, then and only then it will include that. Right. So there are many of these bundle optimized things that available in Nuxt.js inbuilt. Right. So using Vue.js and C, when you use Nuxt.js, obviously we think that there might be multiple packages that have been included, right? But even if you boot up new fresh Nuxt.js, you will get 100 page score on Google. Right, so it's not an issue. Like you can use Vue and like rather than using Vue, I'll prefer Nuxt because it gives us all this functionality routing, then Vuex, then some of the Webpack optimization, this lazy loading of my code, and everything is inbuilt in the Nuxt.js. Right? So first thing is we need to make sure that we, as far as possible, we'll use Nuxt.js as a our base framework as a library. Right. Then, yeah, so we need to know what are the tools to be used. Right. So there are multiple tools that you can utilize to know different aspects of your improvements. Right. So one of the most important and mostly used tool is Google PageSpeed Insights. Right. Which gives us like multiple, which renders the same way the site will load on let's say mobile device or on a laptop, and it shows us other parameters such as scroll, first loading screens, and CPU, time to interactive, and many other insights, right? And there is one more tool called GT Matrix, right? So I do have added links at the end of the slide. So GT Matrix is something which shows us the mostly I use a waterfall in that, right? So what we as a developer want to know is this is the first request that went to our server, right? Then we want to know which are the consequence request that's been requested to our server, right? So then in from that we can also know and optimize our code. Right? This is one of the important tool, or you can say Webpack package, that is called Webpack Bundle Analyzer, right? So using that, you can see how the tree structure of your code is. Right. Then in Chrome Dev Tools, we do have some of the tools which is let's say code coverage. Right. So we can use those tools to optimize our site. Right. So let's go to them one by one. So first tool is Google PageSpeed. Right. So what it gives is okay. So the thing is, usually for most of the site, you can go with Google PageSpeed, and you can improvise the site by using just Google PageSpeed. You won't need any other tool to go into. Right. So what Google PageSpeed gives us is it gives us what was the first server response time. Right. So ideally, we might be using, let's say, any server. We might have Ubuntu or static VM or anything. We might have static website, single page applications. Like we might have used hosted it on Netlify or anywhere, right? So it'll show us response type of our server. Then the other parameters such as the CSS files we are loading, the resources we are loading, CSS, JavaScript, any other links that we are loading, images, right? So it will show us that if we need to improvise those images, right? So there might be a case that we might be using 2000 by 2000 image in 200 by 200 requests, right? So Google Page will show it in us in upfront. Right? So we can go to that and we can just improvise those images and compress those images, right? Then it also shows us the time to interactive of the site, right? So ideally the thing is when you load a site you can't immediately access the site, right? So which is very important because if your target users are basically coming to your site to read the blog, right? So maybe user wants to scroll immediately to go to the main content, right? So it shows us how much time does the site take to get interactive, right? To be accessible by users. Then it also shows us our JavaScript execution time, right? Like for example, we have some heavy JavaScript added to our website or to our code base, right? So it will show us that hey, these are the JavaScript files which are taking more time, so we maybe replace them with some other libraries, or that's not necessary, or that is not a very important feature. Then we can remove that, and we can also analyze that. Hey, this is let's say home page, and we have used this library inside the dashboard, right? So we can optimize our code in a way that it will only be loaded in the dashboard, not on the home page. Right? So Google Page will show all the basic stuff regarding optimization that we need, right? Then GT metrics, as I told you, like it will show us the graph of how the site is loaded. Right? So I created a site which for on the first page, obviously it will load the home page. Then there will be tons of JavaScript files. Then there will be some of the images, right? So using which we can also determine that if some third party library, let's say we might have added Facebook Analytics or Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager or any other analytic tool, that we might have added some uh, advertisement tool or advertisement library, right? Or let's say customer support tool, right? So we can look into the full waterfall of the site and get into that which can be removed or which can be delayed to load. Right? So GT metrics can be useful to know the exact order of execution of the JavaScript file. I mean, not execution order, but exact order of loading of the this JavaScripts or images or any other library, right? Then we have, this is one of the important tools, right? So this is Webpack Bundle Analyzer, right? So this is left hand side we have a sample image of Webpack Bundle Analyzer, right? So this shows us that we have, let's say, our vendor file in which we have our node modules. We might be using Bootstrap Vue. We might be using some kind of carousel. We might have Bootstrap CSS. There is also Popper. We might have Moment.js, Lodash, and underscore JS, and any number of packages, right? So this will show us all the vendor packages. Like basically Webpack is a tree, right? So what we do is we have one entry file which is, let's say, index.js, and in that we might be loading another file. Then in those files we might have some other module to be being loaded. Right. So this creates a tree of the JavaScript or application, right? So using Webpack Bundle Analyzer, we can look into how this tree looks, right? So usually what happens when I optimize even any new website, so I when I go and check their bundle analyzer core, so you'll find that they just have one main.js or let's say one vendor.js file, right, which is being loaded and which will be loaded all in all the pages, right? So all the packages we might have, let's say, 10, 20, 30 different packages being used on the website, they might be on homepage, dashboard, any other number of pages, right? So all of them will be like loaded at once, right? But we don't need them, right? So we using Webpack and bundle analyzer, we can think, let's say, hey, there is this view carousel over there, right? But that's not required in home page, right? Or that's not required in all the pages, right? So we need to optimize these JavaScripts, or we need to lazy load this module, or let's say delay this module to be loaded, right? So we can do something like, let's say, set a timeout, or we can also load this page by page, right? So usually this happens when we use a lot of Nuxt module, right? So when you go and check on any let's say you want a carousel, or you want a bootstrap, right? Or you want any other library, even let's say image resizing library, right? So you will find that Nuxt module, right? So there will be, let's say, Nuxt bootstrap view, Nuxt popper, Nuxt view carousel, right? So what we have to do is, and what we do usually is, we just put them in on Nuxt config in the module section, right? So what happens due to that is, all these packages which are not being used on all the pages will be loaded at one. Right? So all of them will be called a vendor, which is basically a node module folder. That's all of them will be uh, uh, um, imported in a single vendor file, right? But that's not required, right? So usually what I do is, I don't use Nuxt module as far as possible, or if the let's say I use Nuxt module when it's let's say a library like XOS. So we need to call API call, right? So that will be there on all the pages usually. Right? So I'll include them on modules, right? But carousel, or let's say some popper, or Lodash or moment. So I want to use Nuxt moment.js or Nuxt Lodash. I'll directly import them wherever I need them, right? Rather than using them as a Nuxt module. Right? So Webpack Analyzer, Bundle Analyzer will help us to look at the trees. And usually what we need to understand is, the more number of these segments are, the files are, that will be, the more will be the speed. Right? So if there are one files and we can convert them to 5 or 6 files, then the page speed will be increased for individual pages. I'm not talking about the whole site, because obviously user one is not going to visit the full site at first load, right? So what we have to do is, we have to uh, divide the JavaScript or modules or everything, right? So using Webpack bundle analyzer, you can do that. Then yeah, this is one of the important aspects of that I learned last month only. So it's called code coverage in Chrome DevTools, right? So if you go to sources, and there is a tab called coverage in that, right? Or you can record this thing, right? So what we can do is, basically, so when we load, let's say, any page, right? So there might be 5 or 10 JavaScript files, right? And there might be 1, 2, 3 CSS files, right? But we need to know is that how many of them are actually being executed, or we need to know that what is the percentage of code that's not being touched, right? So usually I have seen that many of the websites are having more than 50% of JavaScript code or CSS codes which is not being used on that page. Right. So what we did is, we basically went to our home page and we run this code coverage in Chrome DevTools, and then we checked how many unused bytes were there. Right. So this is a screenshot from that. So I had like 87% of some of the JavaScript that's not being used, 67% of some one more JavaScript that's not being used, and the page is loaded or when I scroll the page. Right. So what I did was, I went into that JavaScript and I checked which are the packages are there, right? And I removed those packages one by one, or I lazy loaded them, right? Then with CSS, what we do is, usually we just import the full bootstrap SCSS file or CSS, right? So what we should do is, when we do a code coverage, so there is also CSS in this thing, right? So you can also see there was around 85% unused code in CSS, right? So what we can do is, we can remove those extra CSS. Let's say if we have a home page which is not using stuff like card, jumbo. If you are using Bootstrap, in case of Bootstrap, so labels, then pages, cards, jumbotron. Then there are many other utility classes that's available. For example, margin, padding, and display classes, and many more, right? Buttons, we have, let's say, we have one two type of button that's being used on the side, but there the bootstrap will give us 5 types of buttons, right? One will be primary, secondary, success, danger, warning, information, right? So what we have to do is, once we look into this CSS, we'll have to go and remove those CSS, right? You can, if you are using Tailwind CSS, then there is also a package called per CSS, which you can use to remove unused Tailwind CSS codes, right? So using code coverage, what we can do is we will be able to optimize. We will be able to see what is the percentage of code that's been touched. And yeah, one more thing you can do after going code coverage is that you can click on individual JavaScript file and you can scroll the code uh, also in the sources. Right. So this will give us more detailed insights of which are the functions being used, which are the functions that's not being used on the first fold. Right. So we can lazy load them or we can play with them. Right. Then yes, then comes this is the basic the tools that we are using. I'm mostly using page speed insights to look into my code and like look at the insights because Google is the I think mostly traffic we are getting from Google, right? So that is something we need to look into, right? And then usually I analyze JavaScript bundle more, and then I go to GT metrics. So the order is something like that. First Google page speed, I improve all the checkpoints on Google PageSpeed and I apply them. Then I go to Webpack Bundle Analyzer and I basically divide and rule. Right? So we divide all Java libraries as smaller as possible. Right. And then I'll go to GP metrics if the site is still load. Then I'll check like which can be there might be third party libraries which might be causing an issue. So I can look into and I can check that. And yeah, obviously code coverage is also important. Usually I use code coverage to improvise my CSS lines to remove. To remove CSS lines. Right? Okay, so in basic XML CSS optimizing, many of you might be aware of these things. Right. So first thing is obviously resizing the images in proper sizes. Right. So if that's 250 or 100 of width of size, right. So we need to make sure that the images are resized properly. Right. We need to make sure that they are compressed. Right. So even if that's PNG or JPG images, or even if we can compress the SVG, that's larger SVG files. Right. Larger SVG images. Right. So we should compress those files and put them. Then there is recently, I think in Chrome 76 around they have added an attribute called loading is equal to lazy, right? So what this attribute does is it uh, uh, so you might have seen that when you go in Google Images when you scroll the page, the Google loads the image, right? So that's called lazy loading of images, right? So what you can do is you can apply this loading is equal to lazy class, and it will work by default on many of the Chromium based browsers, right? And you can also use third party libraries, but that will increase our bundle size, right? So I usually prefer to go with the native code, right? So loading is equal to lazy. Just add this to all the images or most of the images you are using. That is above your first fold, and you are good to go, right? And obviously compressing and resizing them is one of the important aspects, right? Then yeah, then one more thing is we are using in Vue.js we have something called single file component, right? So in that we are using we are writing the template over there, we are putting the script over there, and we are writing the style over there, right? So usually what we should do is rather than creating a separate CSS file for styles, right? Like Bootstrap, what we have to do, we should do is we should create the style along with the components, right? So this will make the code clean, obviously, because if the component is loaded, the style will be loaded, right? So this will make sure that automatically your code will be optimized and your speed will be improved, right? Because the style will only loaded if the component will be used somewhere, right? Otherwise the style won't be loaded at all, right? So you can also generalize the style. Let's say you can have a common bootstrap and you can remove some of the styles from that and use them directly in this style section of single file component, right? You can also one more thing I usually do is sometimes what we see is when you request any page, this usually applies to SSR friendly pages, right? So the response might be, let's say, 100 KB, 200 KB. Sometimes I even seen 500 KB of response sizes, right? So what we can do is, though, when we have larger HTML response size, right, that's due to SSR. So we can also do this thing that if some of the components are shown on hover or something like that, right? So we can, rather using display none or display block, we can also apply add those components using VF, VL, right? So what will happen on the first SSR response, those HTML won't be there, right? And when the page loads, if user hovers those components, the HTML will be there. Right. So I usually use it. This is a basically trick I use to remove extra HTML that's not needed in the screen. That I'll use them in hover, let's say drop down, or even sometimes we have search suggestions, right? So I use um, v if vls as far as possible rather than v show, right? So that is something you can do to remove the extra code that's been there, right? Then we have, yeah, then it comes the main thing, that is JavaScript code optimization, right? So one thing is, yeah, so this is the most time taking thing, right? Because in this you will like go to many components and you will have to play with many components, right? So this, what I suggest is whenever you are improvising something, let's say you found that moment, you want to improvise moment.js or anything, right? So go one by one and improvise the thing, right? So let's go into the next slide and we'll see how can we do that, right? Yeah, so first thing is dynamic import, right? So what dynamic import does is there is already a concept of dynamic import in webpack. This is the webpack feature, not Vue.js or Nuxt.js feature. So what we can do is, let's say when we load a page. So as I told you, we have the components which are shown on hover, right? We might have components which are shown on some, let's say, button click activities or any other user that are shown on user interaction. Right? So what we can do is we can lazy load them by using Webpack's inbuilt functionalities, right? So dynamic import is something that's already being used inside Nuxt.js for routing, right? So when we create, let's say, home page or any other page, right? So those pages will only be loaded, or the JS of those pages will only be loaded when user navigates to those pages, right? They won't be loaded like upfront, right? So that's already there in Nuxt.js, right? But for models, pop-ups, so for this, what we do is we just write a code and we like forget, and then the page becomes heavy, right? So what we can do is the components which we do not need on in the first load, we can dynamic. We can use the feature of dynamic import, right? So what we have to do is like we usually do something like import model login from folder path and .view, right? Which is slash model slash login .view, right? So what we can do is we can write it as a const model is equal to curly braces, like use a lambda function, and we can use import function, right? So what this import function does is whenever we use the model login, it will load that. Right? So what we have done is we might have a button and we might be triggering that model component using v if else, right? So when we click a button, there might be some variable of let's just show model, right? And so when user clicks a button, the browser will request for the JavaScript of this model login, right? The view for the view, right? And then only it will be loaded on demand, right? So what I do is I usually what I have done is I usually have applied I usually convert all the import model to const model or import dynamic import, and then I load them on say 2 to 3 seconds after the page loads. Right. So what this does is my first page completion time increases, like let's say by 1 second or 2 seconds, right? And my models will be loaded, which are let's say sign up model or any other n number of model, sign up, sign in, login, forget password, any model. Right? So those will be loaded after 2 seconds, 3 seconds, right? Then yeah, you can also, so dynamic imports mostly will work with v if else, right? So if you have a component which is shown on condition, right? So you have one, let's say, music app, right? So in the music app, you might have, let's say, video component for some of the music, and you might not have the video component for other music which doesn't have video, right? So when you use v if else, right? So that JavaScript will only be loaded, or that view will only be loaded if we have used dynamic import. If if the music is video, right? So when we apply, let's say, v if is that a video, right? So that component will be loaded dynamically on demand, right? So for other normal music files, it won't be loaded, or normal music page, it won't be loaded at all, right? So this will increase the speed for those users, or particularly users who just want, let's say, a single type of force, right? This single type of, other type of pages, right? Then one thing is so this is regarding dynamic imports. Right? So you can use Weave, you can use this for routing, you can use this for models and pop-ups, right? Then we have something, so mostly what happens that we most of our speed improvement is can be done by improvising our libraries, right? So I think most of us will be using Moment.js, right? For let's say one or two, we want to improvise our page speed for one or two pages, right? So what we do is we use Moment.js, we import that Nuxt via Nuxt module, and we just use it, right? So what we can do is we can replace this type of libraries with other libraries that's available and recommended by some of these are also recommended by Google, right? So we can use those libraries which will speed up our code or our execution time, right? For example, let's say we have something like moment over here which is used to format the date in the date and right? So what we can do is we can use date fns libraries available there, right? So we can use that library and we can use the function from that, right? Which are basically import friendly, right? So if you use or load the format function, then that function will only be loaded, right? Then Lodash also we what we have to do is rather than importing the full library like Lodash, what we can do is we can import the function we need, right? So let's say we might need a sorting function, right? So what we can do is rather than using import underscore from Lodash, we can use import short by from Lodash slash short by, right? So they do have already ECMAScript, a webpack bundle available, right? So what we can do is we can use that directly, right? Rather than loading all the full library, right? Yeah, it's already there. Also, if you don't want to, there are also many transformation, import transformation available. So Lodash does have one of the time which is called Babel plugin transform import, right? So using that, you can also optimize your Lodash directly, right? We might be using one of the popular library that is what WG fetch, right? So we can replace that with unfetch. Then rather than importing full bootstrap view, right? We can do is we can just import the components we want, right? So let's import. I just want a model over there, or I just want a button, or I just want a pop over or anything, right? So what I can do is rather than importing full in Nuxt modules, what I'll do is I'll go to that particular component and I'll import there, right? So something writing something like import and then curly braces and b drop down, right, from Bootstrap, right? So this will only load the only load the portion of the Bootstrap that we need on that component, that particular component, right? And again, as we are loading this file inside the component, right? So it won't be downloaded on other homepage or any other pages, right? So it will be particularly, let's say, if the drop down is inside the dashboard, so that will only be used inside the dashboard or imported inside the dashboard, right? Yeah, this is already the last point is there, right? Importing packages in components individually, right, rather than using them as a module or plugins in Nuxt config, right? So if I'm using Nuxt moment in my Nuxt config modules, right, what I have to do is I'll remove that it from there, and wherever I'm using that moment file or Lodash file, so I'll import in that particular component. Right? So what will this do is this will create a proper chain of our webpack modules, right? And using this, you will see improved bundle your when you reach after removing this from your modules and importing into the component itself, you will see your bundle will be divided into one more file, right? So this will basically divide your um, uh, let's say vendor.js or main.js step by step, right? So we talked about bundle analysis in the previous step, right? So you will see improved bundle by importing packages in the component itself, or let's say removing and improving moment.js, right? So in bundle, that can be useful, right? Then yes, this is also I think the same thing as previous, right? So rather than importing everything in the global main.js or Nuxt modules, we should use them inside the component. Right? So here is an example, like I'm using carousel that is from Vue carousel, right? So what I'll do is I import them in the component I need, or in the slider, or anywhere I need, right? So I won't be loading them as a common plugin or module, right? So this will allow Webpack to manage dependencies properly, right? So it will create a proper dependency chain inside the Webpack, right? So yeah, these are the some ways that you can improvise your JavaScript, and trust me, using this thing, you will be able to improve your speed by 50 to 70% at least, right? And using all these steps, we have improved our pace frame from 40, that was 40 to 80, right? And right now also we have added bad code in earlier in the site, so we'll be removing them also. Right. Yes. And yeah, this is also something that can be useful. Like that is called split chunks, right? So Webpack does have this. What we do is we have one vendor, right? So let's say when you go and you decide that, okay, I'll need like there are all the modules I want. mm, I mean, all the modules I have used, I need them in the global level only, right? So what you can do is you can speed up at least uh, by dividing them into, let's say, if there's a one file worth 500 kb or 700 kb, right? So what you can do is you can divide that file into three files, right? So what this will do is, thanks to HTTP 2.0, this will load all those JavaScript files in parallel, right? So this will give us more speed in the initial load, right? So if you think that your package or node modules is larger and you must have to use that, right? So you can use this optimization portion of Webpack, which gives a key called split chunks, right? So in that you can give minimum size and maximum size, and it will basically split your vendor up, right? So let's say if you have this is basically unzipped file, right? So this is unzipped file size, right? So it's 750 KB I have taken. So usually that will trim down to 120 KB around in with gzip compression, right? So what I've done is my vendor was 500 KB, right? I wanted to divide that at 500 KB with gzip, right? Or if you count normal, so that maybe around 2 to 4 MB, right? So what I did was I just went to optimization split chunks and I gave the minimum size and maximum size. Right? So minimum size is also important, right? Because what happens sometimes that some of the libraries might be very tiny, right? Let's say uh, you might be using some utility JavaScript only, right? So that those libraries can be very tiny, less than a KB or 2 KB or 3 KB, right? So we need to make sure that they will be bundled along with some other library, right? So what this will do is this will divide our 2 to 5 or 4 MB of our our vendor into 750 KB each, or 50 KB to 750 KB each, and then they will be loaded on the page load in parallel, right? So this will also improve our page speed because we are requesting multiple resources at the time. So this will be due to, thanks to HTTP technology, it will be divided into multiple requests, right? Yeah, so these are some of the basic and very useful JavaScript optimization that you can use. Dynamic imports are there. You can use it with mostly with Weave and VLs. Then optimization of library, we can replace our libraries with lesser size or ECMAScript friendly libraries, right? Because most of us are improvising or updating our browser regularly. That's all of the browsers now support ECMAScript. I think 2015 build. Right? So we don't have to load or any polyfills in base, right? So we can directly replace this library with smaller libraries, right? Then importing everything in component rather than importing them in globally, right? So this will also be helpful for like most of all the projects, right? Then yes, split chunks is like something that I use at the end, like if the things does not work with earlier things, right? Then only this will be useful, right? But yeah, many times it can be useful. Okay. Then some of the other optimizations that you can use, and I think most of them will be already identified via Google Page Speed when you run that Google Page Speed insights, right? So they'll show you stuff like, let's say, caching, right? So you must have proper caching headers set, right? So if that's not there, you can tell your, let's say, infrastructure engineer that, hey, this JavaScript is not properly cached, can you set, let's say, 1 month or 6 months of caching time in that, right? Then yes, if your app is kind of web app, right? So something like, let's say, Twitter, right? So service worker can be a very useful, right? Because what service worker does is it's kind of our JavaScript inside the user's browser, right? So what it does is increases our repeated visit time, right? So even if when you switch off your internet and you load Twitter, so it will load. I mean, the loading skeleton will load, right? So that is due to service workers, right? So what when your app is morely dashboard kind of app, which requires users to log in and do the stuff, right? So you must use service workers, and that will uh, add add the performance for consecutive request. I mean, consecutive user experience. Then yes, CDNs, we can use CDNs like Cloudfront, which can be. I mean, CDN, right? So it can deliver our JavaScript file blazing fast, right? Then there are also other Next.js optimization methods which I have used, something called when this is mostly useful when we have two types of sites. So right, so one is obviously SSR, right? So when you are doing SSR friendly site, like we have more than 2 million pages indexed, right? So what I do is some of the libraries to improve my server speed. I usually use this thing that I don't load some of the libraries at server side, right? For example, let's say I don't want carousel to be there on the server side, right? It can be rendered in the client side itself, right? So you mark them as a process.client and or process.server, and I just use them when I need them, right? So this can also be useful to improve the server side rendering rather than client side rendering, right? So this is also like it will make our site to time for first byte will be fast, right? So yeah, these are also like other optimization methods which you can use to speed or improve your site. And trust me, like your once you apply all this stuff, like for your heavy website, and your site will be like 50 to 70% faster, right? And then obviously one thing is for sure that we have to repeat, right? So the thing is, we do this kind of auditing every 3 months or 6 months, right? Then in which we check our page speed, and I mean, we check the page speed and stuff like every month or every week, but we sit for improvisation quarterly or by quarterly, right? And check like what can be improved, and we assign resources for that, right? So we have to do like once you optimize your site, after 3 or 4 months, you again have to sit and look at like what code, what is the portion of code that needs to improve, right? Okay, so yeah, so that's it from my side. Thank you. I think I'll be happy to take questions from the you guys. Hello. Yeah, so I hope this is yet like useful. And
It was really, really nice and useful. Thank you, Tarun, for your presentation, and have a nice
yes,
evening. And
yes,
I don't know,
and all.
with the questions, maybe you can they can ask you in a chat, in a YouTube chat.
Yeah, you can ask me the questions in chat, and yeah, you can always reach out to me for any query. Like I'll be happy to look into your site and help wherever I can. Right, so you can reach me via email or via Twitter or anywhere.
Yeah,
I'll be happy to help you guys.
perfect,
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, thank you very much, and have a nice evening.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so right now what's our schedule? Schedule is after Tarun, we will have Samuel soon. So I will be connecting with Samuel now. So we will back soon. You can have short break for a coffee or toilet, and See you in 5. So we have Samuel here. Hey, Samuel.
Yep. Hey.
And yeah, he will be talking about the storyblocks, right?
Storyblok and Nuxt.js.
And Nuxt.js, perfect. So I guess you can start if you.
I can share the screen, okay?
Yes.
So let's start.
Yeah,
okay,
cool. I will switch you to the full screen and let's go.
So I hope you see my screen. I'm happy to be here. And as Jiri said, I'm Samuel Snopko, and I was working for some time already with Nuxt.js, and I was looking always for the headless solutions, CMS that I could connect the Nuxt.js, and then later I found the Storyblok. And basically, as a disclaimer, I joined the Storyblok this year from the January. So now I'm also like, this is a little bit biased. So I'm going to talk about the Storyblok and how to connect it with Nuxt.js and how you can do it basically very fast in a few steps and really like in a matter of 25 minutes. Okay. So this is this talk I already presented the Vue.js global meetup, but that was a little bit faster. So I try to be a little bit slower today because I have a little bit more time also for it. So enjoy it. As first, I already said a little disclaimer about me, but I was like working as a front-end developer. I love Star Wars, so that's why it's front-end night. And the design ops, I was like working on a lot of websites with huge design impact and custom designs created just for a customer. And then I was organizing some meetups, and I was like a huge fan of Vue.js. As soon as I used the Nuxt.js and find the Nuxt.js, I basically I do everything in Nuxt.js, more or less. Even nowadays, I am learning also other technologies. As the head of the DevRel in a Storyblok, I am writing also articles about other technologies. So, okay. But I don't like a lot of slides, and that's why we are going to jump directly into this coding. And as basically I said, we are going to start from the scratch. So what is the first start if you are starting the Nuxt.js project? The first thing is like basically create a product.js project. So what you could see is basically you can install using the npm or yarn globally your create next app, and then just run yarn create next app Blazingly Fast, which will be in this case the name of my project, and you can just run it. This is a little step-by-step tutorial where I'm in this case just hitting few enters. I'm using usually JavaScript. That's just it. I like yarn. Okay. In this project, I'm going to use the Tailwind CSS, so you will see some styling is made very simple by Tailwind CSS, and there will be like no This will be not topic of this talk, but I'm encourage you to try it. It's really good for your websites, and it's really fast. I don't need any custom server, and usually you would go for Axios and .env. In this case, it's .env for this like saving all your like secure stuff like tokens, which we will be showing you, that should be saved in your .env file and shouldn't be like pushed into a repo or anywhere. Okay, I'm not going to choose any linting tool in this moment. It will make me a little bit slower. And of course, no testing. It will be universal application and then just JSON and just run. It install everything you need, and you should end in project like this. So to save a little bit time, I already prepared. And the first thing you should do is like test is everything installed correctly. So let's jump and run our localhost and our developer environment. So I just run yarn dev, which basically started our Nuxt.js project, and it should run on the localhost. So if you jump to the localhost, you should see a welcome screen from Nuxt.js, Nuxt.js, which is great starting screen. If you learned first time about the Nuxt.js, you can just jump to the documentation or GitHub. In this case, we see it's working. So what's the next step? The next step is like we need to store somewhere our data. Okay, so where we are going to store as data is the story block. So I will open story block, and don't worry, I'm not going to register. I'm just going to log in very fast, and basically I'm already logged in. So after all the registration and that kind of boring stuff, which every developer is like should be like very, very quickly for it, we ended somewhere like here, and we are going to just create a new space. I click here, the new space. Let's give it a name, very similar, Blazingly Fast showcase, and just create a new space. And in this moment, I have a new space. I jumped directly to the content. Maybe I'm a little bit too fast. So I jumped to the content, and in this moment, as we are all advanced developers, we just close the tutorial, and we see our first entry or our first story in the story block created. So let's jump it and open it. So what is here? On the right side, we can see basically an editor, content editor of the of our content, and in the middle it should be like the preview of our website. But at this moment, we don't see anything here. So I just quickly get through the editor and what it's created here, because by default we created some hello world content, just that there it should be something. So in this case, you see that there is a teaser called component called teaser, and there is like just one field with hello world text, and then there is a component called grid, which is basically an encapsulation or array of another components. In this case, we call it block, and it contains another component. So basically, it's like an array of components. And in this case, it's like multiple features, and I can create or copy a new feature, and then I will just rename this feature to number 4. Okay, I created some content. I can play with it, but I don't see any visualization of it. If I save, it's nothing happening. Yeah. So on the middle, I would like to see my website. So how to do it very fast? At first, the most important stuff is that here is shown the API token, which we will use a little bit later. But first of all, we need to use this token. And to use it, it's first of all, what do we need to do? Is install a module for the Nuxt.js. We in Storyblok already created this module. So you just go for yarn, add Storyblok, next module, and hit enter. It will install it, add to package.json as always, and everybody should know. And then we can jump to the next config and add the configuration for this module. So just I will scroll down into the modules, and I already prepared that I don't have to write everything into 1,000 typos. I would just write this few lines of code. So in this case, I just basically import or like tell more to the Nuxt.js that there's a module called Storyblok Nuxt.js, and here should be my token. There is a little bit more configuration we want to play with that, but in this case, I would just need a token. So let's copy the token, and let's put here the token. I will save the file, and I run my Nuxt.js project. So okay, let's see if it's compiled without the errors, and we should see no errors, hopefully. Let's jump to the screen. I can reload it here, and it's done. Okay, it's working, everything looks good, but still we don't have any difference here. Right? There's like nothing happened. But I already know that it's connected with my Storyblock API. So what should I need to do is basically just, as you could see here, I jumped too fast. As you can see here, there should be my localhost address, and it says that your server address is like the home, and it's showing nothing. And this is the first problem. So I need to tell the Storyblock where what it should open in this preview window. So let's big jump to the settings, and in the settings, I can say that I'm going for localhost. So okay, let's just copy the localhost environment. And if I need to create more environments like Nowsage or testing or live environment, I can just add a multiple previews like this. So localhost, and just add it also here. So okay, I will save it. I will head back to the content, and I will open my home page or index page, which is called home. And now I see an error, which is progress. It's not exactly good, but I see a Nuxt.js error. As you can see here on the left side, there's Nuxt. But what does this error mean is that Nuxt doesn't know anything about the home. There's no routing for home. So as I didn't create a home page in the Nuxt.js, as you can see here in the pages, there's only index page. And the index page usually is like empty string, like it's no named or just slash. So what we're going to do is just configure our home page that it will be always like the real part, it will be just a slash. And this will tell our visual editor that the real part of this particular story or page is just a slash. So I save it, and now I see the Nuxt.js there. So it's connected right now in this moment. And this is a progress. This is good. And if I would like have a multiple environments, I could like jump between them here. As you can see, I could go for localhost, which is the same thing as what's my default environment. So, but still, I don't see any content from here. So why don't I see the content? So I created the content in the components, and the page is also one of the components, and I can prove it. And how I can prove it is like I go back to the component section of the components area of the Storyblock. And you can see here that I already created 4 components, or the 4 components are created for us. And this is like page, which acts as a content type, which is like common name or common definition of the content in any other CMS out there. And then I have like 3 other components that are called featured, grid, and teaser, and they are nestable. So basically, I can nest them in the other components like grid or like in page, but they cannot be like used to create a new story like a page or article. The reason why I don't see them in the preview is that I didn't create any components on the Nuxt side. So let's head to the Nuxt.js and create those few components I just defined and showed you. Let's keep this open, and let's create them here in the Nuxt.js. And of course, I already prepared for that. So in my components folder, you can see there is like teaser, which is a very simple component with a super short template and rendering a little bit text or block headline. And the block is my props, which I'm going to send my data through the page, and all the blocks, basically, I'm going to send it to the final component. And then I have a little bit tail and CSS styling. Done. Nothing complicated. Then I have a page, which is like a template of the page. And in this case, as you can see here, I'm using here the default component, dynamic component from the Vue.js. And this is just resolved that according to the JSON and the content I'm getting, I'm going to render here dynamically a different component. So here is like, if this block.component will be a teaser, I will render the teaser. But if it will be like grid, then I will render the grid. And this is just like looping through all my content. The grid is basically just a flexbox or flex list of features. In my case, I'm rendering here dynamically, but I could also replace this with a feature, because in our sampler we are only sending here the features, and this is the same principle as before. And the feature is also like rendering only the names. So it's like the H1, and inside is the name. Okay. So you now maybe wonder how it's getting those data here. and how the data looks, because I showed you here that I should have something like called block component, and this JSON is very easy to show. So at first I need to go to home, and here I created my test content, and here on this with this arrow I can show you the draft JSON of it. And if I look here, then I can see that there are different components. So here is the component teaser. So the body is in this case an array of like component teaser. Then I have a component which is called grid, and this consists of another components which are encapsulated in the property called columns, and there are the features. So these are the data I'm going to get from the story block, and I just described it a few minutes ago. So the next step I need to do is I need to register those components to the in Nuxt.js. So let's open the component.js file in the plugins, which is a little bit shortcut. I wouldn't recommend it to do it this way for all of the components, but you can do it because it's not performant enough. But in this case, it's as a sample, it's very useful and very fast. So I just register all those components, and then one last step I need to do is like go to the Nuxt config file and also like enable that plugin of the component. So in this case, we should see that Nuxt.js is recompiling the project because the new components were registered globally to the Nuxt.js. And after the reload, we maybe see the difference. Oh, we don't see the difference. And the reason why I don't see the difference is we still didn't load it. We didn't make a request for the API to get that JSON data I just showed you a few seconds ago. So how to do it is just let's jump to the index page. And in the index page, I can delete the Vue.js, or sorry, Nuxt.js default code, which is now shown here, and replace it with a little bit of our code. At first sight, it could look like a little complicated, but it's not at all. So here I'm just going to decide if what kind of content type I'm going to render. In my case, it will be page, but this could be like teaser, like landing page, home page, article page, and different type of the pages you would render. Then I don't need anymore the logo, and I also like delete this. Okay, now I uncomment this huge block of the code, and I will get back to it in a second. And then I don't need anymore the styling because I'm using the Tailwind CSS. So this is 65 lines of the code, which is very, very basic and easy to explain. So first of all, what I'm going to do is just register empty story with some empty content, and this will be replaced later by our JSON. So if you can see the JSON here in the sample, you can see its name story, and here is the content. So we will replace it. We just make a request and replace it. Then we are using the asynchronous data function. And according to the context, we are going to get from the story block directly from the home page. I will close the sidebar. We are going to do a request to Storyblock API for the home page, which is the home because it's called home. So we are just going to form. I wouldn't do it in the real project because in the real project, this should be a dynamic and not static as is here. So we will do something like this, that full slug would be like calculated according to the path or you will get from the context. And also, we are going to, in this same scenario, getting only the draft version, but you should get you should also decide between the draft version and the published version, because if you are going to publish it somewhere and deploy it, then of course you want to use only the published version, and then you will want to also use a different token. But that's not important right now. So we are doing a very simple asynchronous, getting data asynchronously. And after the save, you can see that we see a preview. Cool. So it's working. We get the data and it's working. So right now I can change it to Hello Berlin. And OK, I have to save it also. And then we see also the preview. But I think what is happening right now? So what is happening right now is that we also registered on the Monted event, lifecycle, sorry. We registered a Storyblock bridge, which is listening for a published and change event. So this is basically save button and the publish button. And this is coming also from the Storyblock minus Nuxt.js plugin. So, and what all we need to do is that if Storyblocks say like, okay, you hit the save or the publish, please reload, we ask Nuxt.js or force it to reload the page with the new data which we are providing there. Okay, so this is kind of cool. We can see instantly this preview, but I think we could be even better. Like what we are talking about, like modern Vue.js framework with Nuxt.js. So we have all the data binding there. So why don't register an input even? So this is like a super thing for all the content editors out there who will usually using it for previewing and tasting data and want to like use different words and see instantly how it looked like. So what about to like register the input event? And then in the moment as we catch the input event and we are on the correct story, which is not important right now in this moment, we just replace the content with the content from the event, so from the input event, where you don't have to care about it because we are sending using the module the correct event there. Correct content, of course. And now after the reload, if everything is working and I click on the Berlin, then we should see live change. So world, hello world. And we can also like change the order in the grid. So let's say like change the feature. Let's rename this to test that you can see it better. And the test, I would like to like move the test to the first place. And then also you can see there's like highlighting because of this module as we can click and open the correct modules on the content blocks on the right side. So still, I don't think so it's cool enough. And I think still we can do a little bit better. So the last thing I basically kind of promised that it will be showing a little bit more about the blogs and articles and how to create a little very, very, very fastly something with articles inside. So how we do it is let's create at first the content type that will hold our article text. Yeah, I don't need to save it. So let's create a component, and let's call this component article. And let's say it will be a content type and not nestable component. So I create a new article. It's here. And now I'm going to define some field to it. In this case, I'm just used my hints here, and it will be like title, and then intro, and author. So I created the 3 fields basically in this content type. And first is title. We'll hold the title, and it's okay text because it should be short. And I don't want to set up nothing else. Intro should be a little bit longer, so let's make it a text area. And the authors, I think there should be a single option like a select, and let's create a single select option. And I want to load the data from this component. I'm not going to create any data source for that or something. So first author is like me. Let's just copy paste it. And the second author will be like Dominic. Mistake. And save it. So, okay, I just created the author, and I have a component. Let's create like first article in our application or in our project. And I would like to keep all the articles in one place. So let's create a folder for it. So call it articles. And let's say that this will hold only articles. So save it. I will open of course, the folder, and I will create my first article, of course, with a mistake, typo, doesn't matter. And in this moment, I can create my first like article. I can write there. Of course, I would add there more fields with rich text editor or markdown and all the possibilities out there. Like there are 1,000. It's anybody out there who want to have those components. But in this very short and simple example, I would use only these 3. As first, you can see that there's an error page from the Nuxt.js, and the reason is because I didn't create any routing for the article / my first article. So, and I am not going to do it because that will be a little bit longer. And I'm just going to say that we are going to focus on the content. So it will be form only in this case. So let's fill the first header. And I prepared also little title that Nuxt.js is awesome. And also I copied a little text from Nuxt.js website. And Dominic will be the author, let's say. I will save it. And this is my first article. And okay, is it in it? It is in a folder of articles, but I cannot like feature it on the homepage, and I cannot do anything in this moment with it. So what we are going to do, or what we need to do, is like create a feature. I would like to feature it on the homepage. So let's create a featured articles component, which will be nested in the homepage. So I will call it featured articles. It will be nestable, created, and I would like to choose from all the articles I have and just make teasers of them on the homepage. So what I need is like I'm going to choose articles, and the articles in my case, in this case, it will be not single option, but because I want to choose multiple of them, so let's go for multi-option, and the source would be in this case stories from the articles folder. Cool. Let's save it. And now I have a new component, and I can use this component on the home page. So if I go to AdBlock, I should see a featured articles, and I see it. So okay, I have a featured articles component now. And in this featured articles, I even see my first article I created, and can I choose it and save it, and so I'll select it. But I don't see it in here preview. And the reason is, once again, the same. I didn't create it a Nuxt.js component or Vue.js component for the featured articles component from the story block. So let's jump to the Nuxt.js back, and let's create those. So first of all, I, of course, prepared something for us. So it's a featured articles component, which just has a little headline or label, if you want to call it, where it should be called show the title. But if I remember correctly, I didn't define that in the story block, so we will have to fix it. And then there is a list of all the teasers. And if you look correctly into that, there is a like I am calling the teaser component, where I should send the article content, but I didn't create the article teaser component. So the article teaser component is already created here, and it is like, and do nothing else as rendering the title, intro text, and the author, which we'll get from the featured articles. Okay, that looks easy. So I need to register those components, of course. So let's jump to the components.js, uncomment these 2 lines, and save it. It should compile, and we should see something here. Okay, we already see some progress. We can select the featured article, but there's nothing. So first of all, let's fix it, because I forgot to get add their title. So let's add their title, which in our case, it's only text, nothing else. So let's feature, and let's write here that it's featured articles. Okay, I can save it. I see a label of this section of this component, but I still don't see the articles. And the reason is that if I jump to the JSON, then you can see that featured articles here, sorry, is this component or this block of code. And here is only the UUID of the article I want to tease there. So I need to get those data also. So how to do that is like I used the Nuxt.js on the page level fetch function, which you can already use also on the component level. I just still use the old fetch function, and I'm going to load my articles into the store in the moment as the homepage is also loaded. So first of all, I'm going to check if those articles are loaded, and then I'm going to ask the Storyblock API, just do a little get request, and basically I'm getting everything from articles folder and the draft version. And then what I get, I'm going to save to the store, where basically, as you can see, is nothing as a references, and there's array of all the articles, and I will just set them and I can load them from the store. And the loading is happening then in the featured articles component. As you can see here, the component data is called sorted articles, and it's just going for the store and get all the articles filtered by the UIDs, which we will get in the block. So from the JSON I already showed you a few seconds ago. Sounds maybe a little bit complicated, but don't worry, it will work. So in this case, okay, it works as I promised. I see here the first, the only articles I could select, and is here. And this is still okay. I still could add more articles at least. So let's add the copy paste just the first article, second, and let's do one more that we have, like story blog is cool. So duplicate and change also this to story blog is cool, that we see some differences between the articles. So I created now 3 articles, and I will just jump back to the home page. And here in the featured area, I will just select also like 2 more articles. And now I see there is like Storyblog is cool, Nuxt, and 2 Nuxt.js awesome articles. I can save those, but the last thing I would like to do is sort them. Like, like if you tease for some articles, sometimes the order of them is like really important. So you can do it like in the here in the UI, you just drag and drop it. But the problem is that Nuxt.js doesn't know about it. So it's still like, and the problem is that we didn't implement any sorting function or ordering function in the Nuxt.js. We are ordering the JSON file here, but we don't do that in the Nuxt.js. And achieve something like this in the Jamstack with the Nuxt.js is super easy, because we already have a sort function, and all you need to do is like just define the rule for it. And in our case, the rule is only that we are going to compare the indexes of our UIDs that we get it from the blog, and then we just sort according to that our data which we are getting from the store. And if I save this, then we should see, that the compilation compiled. Okay, and now I will just quickly reload it to be sure that it worked. So Storyblog is now first, and now if I move it, then Storyblog is second, and Storyblog is third. And this is why this is cool. It's like, yeah, I can now do something like, okay, add a new block. I can say like, okay, and now just let's talk next. And then I can copy my featured articles here, and I change the feature to Nuxt articles. And I say like, okay, I want to show here only Nuxt articles. And you already see the preview that, okay, here are all the featured articles, here are the Nuxt articles. I can save it, I can publish it, and then I will get a different content. And this is more or less all I wanted to show you today, and how to create and connect very fast the Nuxt.js, which is a great framework, with headless CMS. And as a sample, of course, I take Storyblog in this case. So let's jump back to the presentation. And okay, yes, this is one more slide. And this is like, if you would like to continue what I show you, there's like, you can go to this link and just get it, like go even deeper. Just explain all the like different stuff you can do with Nuxt.js and Storyblog together, and all the principles of the headless CMS is out there, and all that stuff. And that's it. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, like feel free to write me a direct message on the Twitter, which is probably the best way to contact me. You can see it right here down there. And thank you very much. Jiri?
Yeah, thank you, Samuel. It was really nice. So yeah, thank you for your time, and hopefully we will see each other live in the future at our meetup.
Yeah, that would be nice.
In the Berlin.
And get some beer together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. So if you have any question to Samuel, just contact him over Twitter or Discord or whatever. So yeah. Okay, Samuel. Have a nice evening, and see you.
You all. Evening. Bye. Ciao.
Ciao. So now the schedule is nice. I'm 2 times here. So the schedule is me and Norman. I will contact Norman somehow, and we will talk each other about, I don't know, anything. So let's have some short break, and we will be back soon. we are back. So Norman is with me. Hi, Norman.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone can see me.
I can see you.
Good.
Yeah. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why can't I see you, by the way? Anyways, I have beer. I'm good. So
yeah,
as usual.
I have coffee. Actually,
I have coffee. Oh no.
I mean,
At this hour, I prefer the beer.
It's actually not a coffee. It's a caro thing because I stopped
Okay.
drinking coffee actually.
You stopped drinking coffee. That's a longer discussion, I think.
Yeah.
Nice. Hi, Gustav. Nice to see you.
Yeah. Probably in my background you can hear my kids screaming. So.
I can hear something. I thought it was a cat, but okay.
Yeah, not a cat. Cats are sleeping. Not right now. So. Yeah. So how is your work right now?
Yeah, I tend to say let's not talk about it. It's nice, but it's also stressful because a lot of little details that just. So yeah, I'm working from home anyway, so for me not so many things changed. Just the first week of everyone is going completely crazy and thought about whatever, skipping everything and all the projects. I'm working as a consultant, right? I don't know if it just should maybe give some context.
Yeah.
So I'm working as a consultant, so my company is working for other companies, and if these other companies are going bonkers because of virus outbreak, then they of course cancel all the projects, and that happened to us as well. But a week later, everything was almost normal again, and now we are back. So it's all right. But it was a bit strange in the beginning, but now everything is as usual.
Yeah.
With the nice addition that my wife is also working from home, so we're basically all at home all the time. So,
yeah. Yeah, I basically worked from home since I get back from Amsterdam, from Vue.js Amsterdam.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost, I mean, what was it, 25th February. So it's like two months already working from home. Yeah. I was kind of sick right after the Vue.js Amsterdam.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Good, right? I mean, I had 1 week in between before I got sick, but then I got really sick.
Yeah, but it was like the normal illness. Yeah.
Yeah, no coughing involved.
Yeah. It was a flu, I had a flu before it was cool, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So but yeah, as from A to B, we are also working from home, like from 13th of March, and also we had to cut to short time work, so.
Yeah, same here actually.
Yeah, so only 8 hours a week, so it's fine. So I always thought that now I will have lots of time to do other projects, but I mean I have all my children at home right now, so.
You have enough to do, you say.
Yeah, but at least I managed to create this stream, so it's I spent 3-4 days just playing with this one, trying different combinations. Yeah, OBS, Streamlabs, and other things, try to stream it, and it looks like it's working now. So, yeah.
Well, it's good that you had that much time, because I didn't. Because I'm on short work, yes, but that only means that as long as I don't have a project, I'm not getting paid. So I'm back at freelancing times, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm currently having projects, so I'm working all the time.
Yeah, I'm paid with generous German state as a true foreigner, so I just depending on the Germany. So yeah, that's nice. So that's really good. So not sure when we will have the next live meetup. I mean live real life meetup.
Yeah, real life. Yeah. I think it might take a couple months, like September or so. People talk about September or later.
Lots of good conferences was like delayed right now. My favorite Web Expo was delayed until April 2021. So, but it was not cancelled, but it was moved to next year. So
when is it usually? In which one?
In end of September.
Oh yeah, okay. So they will have two then in 2021.
Yeah, because there are still some limitation there will be some limitation for the conferences that's like 50 people or 100 people or something like that, and Web Expo is usually like 2,000, 3,000 people. So like
wow, okay.
Yeah, really hard.
Weekly. Yeah.
Yeah, just like schedule like you put like first wave of 100 people and like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also concerts. Lots of concerts that don't happen. Really sad. But we have a lot of online concerts and home studio concerts now, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, last month I saw the Scooter had really great concert on YouTube.
Okay. Scooter is really not on my screen. So.
it was really nice. Yeah.
I didn't know that this guy still lives.
Yeah, I didn't know how I found this like so. Yeah, but it was really nice. Yeah, so we will. I want to we will have probably the next like online conference, like instead of normal meetup, like it's the 12th of May, I guess. So in 14 days, I guess. So by the way, we need some speakers. So if someone wants to do the talk, so that's like definitely lots of space. And as we are online meetup, we can like accept basically anyone from around the world. As today we had Tarun from India. He contacted me like this morning. So yeah.
Yeah, we are truly agile.
Yeah. He kind of saved me because I should have presentation for you and I was too much busy to prepare the stream, so I just didn't do it, and maybe next time. But yeah, I started like do some personal projects like with the Vue.js and Tailwind combination. So what do you think about the Tailwind CSS?
Tailwind.
Yeah.
I love it, actually. I'm not using it as much as I would like to use it. In my last project, I was totally said, yeah, I will use Tailwind again because I can and I can choose all the technology and so on. And somehow I didn't do it. Not sure why, but I actually really like the idea behind it. So I would recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, it's like in this time like of components. It's not like you're not bloating the code actually, because it's much more, for me it's much more easier. It's like if you just you need to write for every component your styles, so it's still bloating the code. And for the Tailwind you have like normalized like way how to do it, and I didn't have any issues with that, and it's working fine.
What, Samuel was against it from the start? Okay. Oh, okay. He changed his mind. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, but still, I try to figure it out for my new project what backend I should use. That's always like what backend I should use for my new project.
I would always try to not, just avoid backends if possible.
I know that, but as I'm kind of, I don't know, full stack. Because right now, like in these days, like full stack is like it should be like from DevOps to, I don't know, from office management. So it's really really broad. So yeah, for I checked. I mean, my background is Ruby on Rails. So, but I last time I saw Rails, it was like Rails 4, and I think right now it's already 5 or maybe 6, not sure. And yeah, so I mean, it's still like a good option, but it's maybe for me it's too much heavy, because like Ruby on Rails is really heavy for the backend, and so I basically always okay you can or you can have Node.js as a backend with the Express. It's also like possible to have like this. It's lightweight kind of, and I basically end up with the Firebase, which is
Yeah, I have some people in our company who are varying kind of on Firebase, but I don't know. I never really used it in a serious setting, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like if you need somehow data handling, I like to just use some CMS like Contentful, or at the moment in my current project I use this. I always forget the name. What the something with this in the name.
Yeah.
I'll figure that in the meantime. And yeah, it's an open source CMS, also headless, and has a really, really nice interface. And yeah, I know for now it works really well. And then on top, just some Vue.js application, and everything is super neat.
Yeah. I mean, Norman Sander, I know that you love Django, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like for me as a Rubyist, the holy Rubyist. I don't like Python, and not like Python. I didn't have like really chance to work with Python, and so
I used to work with Python like 10 years ago, so I'm not sure if I could look at it and recognize. I mean, yes, of course, I will recognize it because of the indentation. That's probably it.
Yeah. So I end up with the Firebase, and it's really an easy integration with Vue.js. So it's really good, and
yes.
And also I had some issues like you standing in the project, and as we have like kind of Nuxt.js as a topic today, I always like try to decide if I want to use Nuxt or Vue.js. I mean, it's always like the decision for me.
Which is why I'm using
Vue.js.
Gridsom.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Gridsom. Yeah, but yeah.
I use Gridsom because it's a kind of in between. It's not as opinionated, I would say, as Nuxt.js, and gives you lots of stuff out of the box that you just don't have to care about, like routing and good splitting of the code and so on. Yeah. So, and of course, a very good data integration, like CMS or whatever, and data source integration.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I really love Gridsom, but I think like it's I'm not sure if it's really good for like really big modular project, which I want to kind of do. So maybe still thinking. I'm really in the beginning, so it's like still thinking if I will start with Nuxt, because the Nuxt is more modular, I guess, than Vue.js itself. But yeah,
I mean, it's as modular as Vue.js as you want, right? But of course, Nuxt gives you a good setup, so it tells you where to put things, and you don't have to figure this out yourself, which is super useful. Which Gridsom also does, actually, with layouts and pages and all these things.
Yeah.
Cool. And by the way, what did I reach in between? Yeah, Netlify functions, or in general, these remote functions, like also on other cloud services, I think can be awesome, but you have to have the right problems to use them.
The Netlify functions, it's like Lambda function on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so you basically have some web call, like HTTP call or something, and that is building up this function, running the function, and it gives you back some results. And that's it.
Oh yeah.
It can be awesome for example, processing of single things that happen, like single events that happen from time to time. But these functions have to be short-lived, and they have they have some great limitations. So if your problem is the right one, they can be great. But for I think 90% of the problems, they're not so great.
Yeah.
They're good for IoT stuff, so for event-based stuff, I would say.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, my view is empty. I'm sorry. If I'm getting like sounding sad or somehow depressed, then you know why. That's not that bad. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's. Yeah. I think I will just really. I think right now I read that Tailwind has some new version. Yeah, it's like 1.3 right now.
Oh, I just see your cup. How awesome is that? Sorry.
What?
Your coffee cup. Fantastic. I didn't see the video until now, just switched over to see something.
Yeah.
Nice cup. Nice cup.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard to drink from it, but
Yeah. It doesn't look comfortable. That's true.
but yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. I saw that like I saw today I think or that the Tailwind has the new version, so
Oh,
like 1.3. Oh yeah, welcome.
I have a guess. I hope you don't mind.
No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and I really like there is like there is like lots of like for example like the new space and divide layout utilities, transition delay, like inline grid, flow root, and clear known. So it's there are lots of things, and I really like that they are really working on it, and so
I definitely have to have a look into the new version then. No, I know that they have some utilities in there that just out of the box make things easier. Tailwind UI. Did we see Tailwind? No, I didn't.
no Tailwind UI. Let me check it.
Yep, exactly. Googling
What?
Tailwind UI.
Tailwind UI. Tailwind UI. So
Nice patch.
just replace Norman.
Okay.
Presentation. Okay. So I will. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Explore the preview. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks really nice. Yeah. The funny things are like we are right now working on the redesign. Hopefully I'm not saying something secret, but and basically doing like this component. I mean, if like Norman Sander, please stop me if I talking something. Yeah. So, but and basically we right now doing like the basically component base, and we will have like our own like from A to B UI. So with the components, and it's looking really good. What? Uh, maybe in the future. Why not? I'm, I mean, with our open source projects at A2B, it's kind of tricky because it's still. I will just. It's we we don't have any time like for open source, but I think our what you wrote, the view for the stripe,
The stripe thing.
yeah, it's
I
still
saw that it has like at least a 3-digit amount of stars, so people seem to use it.
yeah, the people are using it, and we try to update it, and I think I heard lots of people on the at the Vue.js Amsterdam that they are using it also, and yeah, so
Nice, yeah. Can
and
you?
I think it was kind of boosted because I think Sarah Dresner used it in their example, so it was.
Gusto, can you hear me now? Did things change? Gusto just said that we may have lost Norman's voice.
Yeah, I probably because I changed the scene and I didn't have the audio output capture on the scene, so
okay.
it.
Yeah, okay, now it's working again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gusto. Thanks for rescuing me.
I'm working on it. It's still there are still some flaws, but
yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to change my voice in case, but I don't need to, so it's nice.
Yeah. Tailwind UI really is well designed. Most framework-specific component libraries are missing a good designer. Yeah, that's right, Tim.
Yeah.
That's
I'm also missing a good designer for every single project. Believe me, because I'm not.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's looking really good. So maybe I will definitely check it because I think what did where is that presentation me? So you are on the big screen right now. Until I change you.
Okay. I'll try to look cute.
Just entertain people.
Yay, entertainment. Woohoo. Awesome.
I think I tried to implement Vuetify, which for me it looks kind of good, but I didn't have time to like check it like really into the deep, and I'm not sure if I want to use it because this Tailwind UI looks maybe more lightweight. Hard to say. Okay, just go back to this to you. Yeah. So and the Vuetify. I mean. Not sure like what's the big difference between Tailwind UI and Vuetify, if it's like.
I mean, Vuetify brings more functionality, I guess. I mean, I didn't look into Tailwind UI, but for me it looks like ready-made designed components without any functionality. Or I don't know, but if it's agnostic, like framework agnostic, then it shouldn't bring much functionality. While Vuetify, of course, brings complete components that do something.
Yeah. It's something like Bootstrap, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say this word here.
The B word?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Vuetify is like Google Material Design. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm not the biggest fan of it, actually.
No?
I mean, Vuetify is probably really good, but Google's Material Design, I think there are some really nice things about it, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't really get. I find it overloaded here and there.
Yeah. So maybe I will try to. Vuetify looks great. Maybe good. Quasar out of the box.
A rugged minimal framework for composing JavaScript behavior in your markup. Alpine.js. I've never heard of this.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just we'll see. Just
Okay. Anyways, we have Vue.js. I think we don't really need Alpine.js.
Alpine.js.
Yeah. So you said something about a side project.
Yeah.
Tell us everything.
I'm not sure if I want to yet have some details about it, but
Okay.
I'm still trying to find the time here. Like, I mean, I'm working like 8 hours a week officially, and
So there should be time, right?
I mean, it's kind of like a relative question because there should be time, but actually for me the day after day is kind of I would say merge together right now. So yeah, okay, I will back Norman. And yeah, so yeah, I try to do it as possible, but still I'm like right now really at the beginning. I just like create a new project and import the tailwind, and that's pretty much it. And working on some like kind of what's the business proposal, no business plans.
Oh, like a big project then.
Yeah,
it's not just like hobby, something you really want to get out of this, like something out of this.
Yeah, I mean I still thinking about this project like for half a year, and it seems like always it's a how I say it, I didn't still lose the interest to do it, and I think it and I think it should be still really good. I think there are like some I didn't find like this kind of type of project or like website or application on the web. Like there are some parts of it are existing, but this should be huge.
Okay. And you don't want to tell us because you're afraid that someone else is faster than you?
Yeah. Everyone is faster than me right now.
Okay.
No. Hopefully, maybe for some next meetups, I can have some presentation when it will be ready. Yeah.
I'm also working on a side project, but nothing. I mean, yes, I thought about some monetization potential for it, but it's like the last thing on the list. Like, there's the the to-do list, the nice to have list, and the maybe list, and after that maybe list comes the you could monetize something out of it.
Yeah.
So I really don't think that I will ever monetize it, and it's it's related to pen and paper role-playing games, so it's probably also not a huge market.
Yeah. Well, what is the link for it?
Let me check. It should be something like RPG. I'll send it to you then.
Yeah, that might be better.
Yes, RPG. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Great. I just throw it into the chat. It's like crazy early version, and the version on my computer is quite different by now, but you'll see what it means. So the idea behind it is to create these cards that show you some typical information, like a monster stat or like your spell or whatever you have in these pen and paper role-playing games.
Yeah, I'm not so much into it, but
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. If you don't really know what it does already, then you probably can't really use it for anything. But the main idea is to, instead of buying cards for expensive money, you just recreate them on your own with the information you have already.
Where did you send the link?
In the YouTube chat.
I cannot see it, actually.
You cannot see it. Interesting. I can also send it to you directly. Does that work?
Yeah, let me switch to this one.
No, I can't find the video. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it should I have it. Nice to be here. Yeah. Good night, Samuel, and thank you for the presentation.
Good night.
Okay, this is the pre-alpha version.
Yeah, let's not. Even pre-alpha is optimistic.
Nice red border. I love it.
Yeah, I wanted to be sure that people see it. Yeah. So yeah, the main functionality of this thing should be. That's the video. Yes, the main functionality of this thing should be to allow you to design cards and then print them. For now, you can design cards but not print them. So that's why even pre-alpha is actually, nice to say already. So if you click the plus, things happen.
Where is the plus? Yeah.
This huge orange thing in the middle.
I guess. Yeah, you're watching the YouTube, right? Because I'm already.
Oh, of course. I didn't. Yeah.
Do
I see it in our video somehow faster? No. Okay, whatever. Yes, exactly. This is only example stuff, of course. These icons come from a page called rpgicons.net, I think, and they have hundreds, maybe even thousands of these icons, and you can configure them and change colors, everything, which is really nice. So I try to integrate this as tightly as possible because I'm not an icon designer at all. Yeah. So the idea is
you did this picture
to have these pictures come from rpgicons.net, but I designed them with the colors. That's mainly it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, these are only the background things pictures. So yeah, I see only the video, of course. So the gusto. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's looking nice. Yeah. And
it's coming from, actually, there is a thingy like this existing that allows you to create these cards, but you have to write some markup thing that the owner, the guy who wrote it, he invented some markup language for it. So you have to be used to this kind of thing. For me, it's of course easy as a programmer, it's easy, right? But as someone who wants to play these games and not to write markdown or markup stuff, then it's not so nice. That's why I wanted to create something. I don't know if you already did it, but you can click the card and then build a deck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I heard. No, heard. I read on the Discord that you write your own WYSIWYG, right? Or
yes, my own Vue.js editor. I tell you, don't do it. It's the pain.
I mean,
in the beginning you think, oh, that's awesome, that works super well, and then you get further and further and think this is super easy and everything's more or less straightforward with only a tiny quirk here and there. But then you just, you just fall and don't get up anymore. Painful.
Yeah, but looks nice. Which reminds me, not that I had a prepared one thing. I saw like today this hero generator from Sarah Dresner.
Yes.
And
Nice idea.
It's looking really good. I tried to play with it for like half an hour.
Oh, okay. Half an hour already. I didn't. I checked it out because you sent me the link. But not much more than that.
Yeah, it's.
Quickly checking something. I'll be right back with you.
No, I'm not sure if I want to. Oh, okay, I can do this. Vue.js. Can we break it? Oh!
You want to break my app?
Wow, that's awesome.
You're breaking the hero generator, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
That's actually also a pretty simple idea, but I guess it just takes away quite some work because you have this visual way of creating your hero without playing around on your CSS directly.
Yeah. I can.
Would be nice to have an integration, something like I don't know, some picture page so that you could directly scroll through online available pictures, background pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. So we still have 15 people here.
Nice. So we are not completely boring. That's nice. Good to know. And actually, Gusto asked for creating a monster, and you didn't.
Yeah, I created the Gusto Nuxter monster.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So, anyways, I have this problem with side projects that as soon as I have work that consumes my time efficiently, like my current project, I have a really, really hard time to find some hours to work on my side project.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's not going forward since 2 weeks because since 2 weeks I'm again in a project, and I basically spend all my time either with the project or with my family or with friends.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's for me. It's the same. So, I mean, I kind of have lots of interests, like I mean, except the family, which is the basic, like the ground. I really kind of like to play with the videos, like I starting.
I'm very happy about that.
And this kind of these streaming things, it's always like try. I really like I sometimes watching the Kitse. Do you know the Kitse?
The what?
The Kitse.
No. Doesn't tell me anything.
He's a really funny guy. He's doing React, but he's really I really like him, and he's really funny. So yeah, and the videos I starting to play with what's the name? Oh, I forgot the name of the editor.
Adobe Premiere or something?
No, it's not Adobe. It's actually for free.
Free video editor. Oh.
And it's really good.
So for these cases, we have a website. It's called alternatives2.net. And as soon as I know it, I can search for Premiere.
No, it's.
And then it will tell me alternatives to Adobe Premiere Pro. And it's for free, or is it open source?
I think it's open source also. Where is it? It is really, really low.
There's some thing called KDen Live or something.
No. It's more coolish name.
Shotcut, OpenShot.
No, I should
The
have
others
it.
are not cool.
I should have it here, but where is it?
Flowblade.
No. In Blackmagic Design. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve. It's Resolve.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
DaVinci.
Yeah. I mean, they have like free version, which is like fully. I mean, you can do basically anything you can do at Premiere or something, or the other one. What's the Vegas Pro version? And it's I really like it, and so I'm thinking that I that's the thing for me, because when I try to do something there, I have like run this side project, but I also want to play with the videos, and I always like trying to find a way how to do it, like to like some kind of like separate the time. But yeah, I mean, I have like lots of presentations from the meetup. I should maybe like.
You mean we could upload them?
Yeah.
I like the idea.
I mean, I could actually upload them, but I mean, I don't know if they are all up to date. I mean, maybe like they are from like last year-ish, so maybe some presentation will be like outdated. But I think I have at least some of them should be really nice. I think I have for example, the presentation from Sarah should be, or from you, not even you, but from you.
Yeah.
Haha.
Yeah. No, you don't have to use mine. It's fine.
Yeah. I have to use it every time, like at the meetup. So, like I have like check. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's an open source video editor that's called this KDen Live. I have no idea how to pronounce that name.
Yeah.
People claim that it would be the best open source video editor out there. So if anyone is like me and prefers open source tools before closed source ones, I just share the link.
Yeah. I started playing with the DaVinci, and then it's like this Resolve, and it's you can do basically anything with it. So, and it's for free, and you don't have to. I mean, I had the Adobe Premiere, but it's like too much expensive. Like if you don't do it like professionally, or like at least like you do like editing like at least some videos every week, or like, so it's, I think DaVinci Resolve it's fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't really, I mean, sure, I played around with all these programs once probably, but video editing is not my thing.
Yeah.
Getting dark outside. But at least it's not raining anymore, which is nice.
Oh, it was raining.
It was raining.
I didn't notice actually.
Not much.
So yeah. I guess maybe we should end it. We started talking about the weather, so it's.
Yeah. No. Before we start about the weather, we could also bring up, for example, Vue 3, because Vue 3 is now in beta, and I wonder if anyone ever played around with it already, except me. I played around with the alpha and somehow didn't get far because I tried to get it to run with TypeScript, and it just didn't work well. I guess now it's better in the beta, because
I mean,
should work with TypeScript out of the box.
No.
Why not? Why not?
No. I think it should. But I didn't have time to play with it because there's lots of things like I think that's also like Vuex has the version 4 beta, and Nuxt is also like implementing the Vue 3 in some versions. Like there's so that's right now it's like everyone is waiting for Vue 3, but not sure if it will be this year.
Oh, I think so. I mean, now that they brought out the beta, it probably doesn't take super long anymore.
I mean, yeah, of course. Like, it really depends. I mean, everyone is like at the home office, like at the quarantine, so they should have lots of time to working on this. So
that's the question. Do they really have time, or do they just drown in work because they do everything from home and think, hey, my day has so much more time. I can just quickly finish this as well. This is how it works for me, unfortunately.
yeah.
No. I also have 2 cats and a dog. I have a lot of things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Gusto is saying that it will be, so if it's Gusto is saying so, it's fine. So yeah. Also, I as you remember, I started on the kind of on the Vue Amsterdam. I started to translating the documentation to Czech version.
Yes,
but
I am actually now part of the team that is translating into German, but no one does anything in this team as it seems.
Yeah, and I also like I translate quite a lot, but right now it's like really like lots of things, and not sure if I want to put so much effort in the translation the Vue 2 if the Vue 3 is coming like in the 3-4 months. So yeah,
that's a good point. I would really like to put more time into this translation, but my original plan unfortunately failed because of a pandemic. I don't know if anyone heard of it, but because my original plan was to go to Japan for 2 weeks, a bit more, and the flight to Japan is of course pretty long. So I thought it's just perfect. You just download everything you need, sit in the plane, and start with the translation, and just use your time there. And then you have a good kickstart and can go on from there. But the kickstart, of course, didn't happen. So somehow the whole translation thing didn't happen.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and most of the doc teams wait for Vue 3 docs at this point. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so it's kind of yeah, we'll see. Maybe when the Vue 3 is released, so I will have maybe time to do it. Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah.
It should, because like there should be Cyberpunk 2077 released on the autumn, so yeah.
No time. Okay, I see. This is actually also something I totally waited for, but I didn't really buy a new computer in the meantime, so I'm not sure if I can quit even. Because my laptop is not strong enough graphics-wise, and the big guy I have, the desktop computer, is probably too old by now, and I didn't start it since 3 years probably by now.
Yeah,
but I didn't have time.
Yeah, but actually the NVIDIA has this version, this GeForce Now thing, which you can use like basically with any MacBook or laptop or whatever, which is like at least like using like some kind of.
What does it do? Yeah, like, is an external graphics card or?
Yeah. It's basically streaming the game like Netflix. So they have like servers.
Oh, I see.
So yeah.
Is that so nice? Streaming a game?
Yeah, I mean, if you have good connection, it's fine.
Exactly. If you have a good connection.
Yeah, I mean, I Google has the Stadia, which is the same basically the same thing. I tried both, like Stadia and GeForce Now, and like with me for my connection, it's really enough. I didn't have any issues, any lags, nothing. So
Okay.
I actually like the GeForce Now better because you can kind of reuse the games. Because
What does it mean?
so if you have Steam, and so you can import the games from the Steam, and you don't have
Oh,
to.
you couldn't do this in Stadia, right? You have to rebuy things.
You need to buy it again. So
Yeah. That is bullshit.
so yeah, so I like the GeForce Now better because you can. But some like game producers like trying to like kind of block them, and like because they don't like it because they like more like the Stadia model. So they would like to yeah. So but the Cyberpunk I think will be released on Stadia and the GeForce Now, so you can use it like there without any issues because I mean CD Projekt Red is like with this and his like GOG.com and GOG. I don't see you.
Yeah, I'm back in a second. I just rubbed my eye like crazy at the moment because I got something in there and I don't want to show this to everyone. Sorry for that. I found it. Okay. Yep. Sorry for that. Yeah.
And yeah, looking good.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I think and the price is also I think cheaper for GeForce Now.
Okay.
I mean you can probably have it for free, but you need to wait a line for the server.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah. Actually,
And
yeah.
no, what?
No,
Actually, no. It's I just wanted to jump on the chat because everyone is actually talking about Vue.js docs, and while we are talking about games, not sure if we maybe should talk about Vue.js documentation instead of something.
Okay.
Okay. No.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. The dogs are one of the best parts. Yes, they are, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else, or we will stop it for today? We have
We can wrap it up, huh? I don't have anything else.
2.5 hours of streaming.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Or is there any other questions from our 11th brave people?
Yeah. Thanks to be here. Thanks.
And 11 means one of them is me and one of them is you. So.
Yeah. Now it's 12 here. in the video. Okay. Oh, I still have something.
I have actual numbers in my screen because now it's 12 again.
Thanks for the one who came back.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just me switching to the video or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Will only caught the last, so you just heard us bubbling about video games.
That's fine. We can talk about lots of games. I'm almost finished the Doom.
Okay, I don't play any games anymore. I can't talk about.
But for Will, I will post I will upload the presentations.
Yeah.
Today or tomorrow.
So you recorded everything, and we'll just put the high resolution version.
Yeah. Because we used I click on the button like optimize the stream, which will optimize it like that it will downscale it to 720p.
Yeah.
But I'm still recording in full HD, so we will have you in a full HD.
Hey, everyone will be so happy about that. Yeah, and I think it's a good idea, Augusto, to maybe keep one of the speakers if they want to for the last. It can be 3 people in the stream, right? Or is there a limitation that we have?
Yeah, stay for the. Yeah. Actually, I thought about it that we will keep the Samuel, for example, here with us, and I guess we can do it. But,
or maybe Gusto.
Or maybe Gusto, if you want, or Tim.
Or Tim, or Will, who just came last 20 minutes.
Yeah, basically anyone who wants to say something. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is that we are using Zoom, so we have limitations. As long as we don't pay them a ton of money.
On the other side, if someone wants to sponsor us and buy us the full version, premium version of Zoom,
exactly the bridge I wanted to break.
So it would be really cool from you. Yeah. So, but yeah, if Zoom is like if you have one-to-one call, it's unlimited. So from 3 people, it's only 40 minutes. So I mean, on the other side, we will be limited 40 minutes. So we don't have to we won't bubble so much. Maybe
might be a good thing you say.
But I mean, we can always restart the call again. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see how we do it. Maybe we can also pay for. I mean, or does anyone know a good alternative to Zoom in this case? Because for now it seems like there is no reasonable alternative that is not either super expensive or doesn't allow these management functionalities for screen sharing and putting people out of the screen and so on.
I mean, we can still go back to Skype, but you told me that Skype is not option for you.
Yeah, no. Linux users are unfortunately a bit sad with Skype.
But I guess you can use it on your phone, right?
Yeah, so that would work. Yeah.
Because there are no limitation on a Skype, but. But I mean, Google Hangouts, it's fine, but it's still, I don't know.
But the presentation stuff is not so nice. You can share your screen and so on, but I think there is no key moderator who can throw people around and so on, right? Or I only saw that in Zoom for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Zoom is improving a lot right now because of this lots of fuck ups they did in the past few weeks of the security. That's
true. I think they try to rescue themselves, and I'm pretty sure they will make it happen. But writing their own crypto implementation is very stupid. I'm sorry, Zoom. That was stupid.
Yeah, so yeah, that's...
Anyways, awesome. We have still... I see 10 people. What do you see?
What? You see dead people? Or?
Yes, I also see dead people, but mostly 10 people. 10.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't want to talk about this live, okay? Okay.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah. I only see 9 people, but
okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I think next time we will do it in like it's the 12th of May. And it will be also the same online. And yeah, we will try to maybe this last like after the talks. I mean, yeah, after the talks we can have this kind of session with another speaker, and maybe I need to check it how much is for the Zoom like monthly. I'm not sure what's the...
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it was €100 or something for the minimum. Yeah, anyways, I'm sure we'll find a solution for this.
My God.
Is anyone in the chat who really wants us to stay and babble more. 20 seconds, we said, right?
Yeah, I think the delay is 20 seconds or 30 seconds. I don't know. Let's wait.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, here is the upgrade. Upgrade account. So it's 14 euros. 14 euros.
14 per month or per user?
There is a.
Many also use Twitch right now. Twitch might be also an option. That's true.
But
although
I don't think the Twitch is the same, like just for streaming, and it's like YouTube. So I mean, I can stream it to Twitch, this one.
Yeah.
Also, but it's not like for the conferences.
Mm-hmm.
But
maybe we can stream it to Twitch, and maybe the delay is not that big.
Maybe.
Thanks for coming, Gusto. Was nice to have you.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to have maybe you join the discussion round or have a talk or anything next time. Let's just talk.
Yeah. Let's keep in touch, Gusto. Have a good night. Yeah, so for the Zoom, it's like 14 euros per month per host. So.
Okay, that's decent.
So basically, it means I am the host, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's 14 euros per month. So, and we will have 100 participants. And
we could just get all into Zoom directly, actually.
Oh, no.
Just, okay.
We don't have.
But then people could raise hands and stuff. That would be, I don't know.
What?
So if people are inside Zoom, you can just still turn them off, kinda, or have them somehow not in the main screen. But I think they could still be visible. Speakers could still see the people who are watching them, which is nice. And people could raise their hand, like having a mark on their video, so that they can be seen and speak. So.
Yeah.
But all this also works with that open source thing.
Yeah. We'll see. I will do the research for the next time.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I think for Twitch there is still also some delay if you don't have some like pro version or something like that.
Did you, by the way, realize that I'm a white screen with text?
Yeah, you look nice. Sorry.
I also like myself. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up here. I think it was good. Worked well. No hiccups.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it works fine. The stream didn't break. Yeah.
True. Tim just has a very good point that sure, we can record talk, but in the recording, the conversation itself will be lost if we have a Q&A. Jiri Norman.
Which conversation?
If we have Twitch, YouTube, whatever, streaming with Q&A with people in it, then the conversation will be lost if you just record it in the end. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this is fine. For.
Oh, cheers from Mexico. Yes, cheers back to Mexico.
Yeah, so Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Kratochvil.
I don't even try. Excel?
Excel?
Excel? Oh, that could be Excel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice idea. No, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's see for the next time. But definitely the idea with a kind of one more guest or two, for example.
Yeah.
Like I think we can on this screen we are now right now we can fit like more people. 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that it would be nicer to have more people because then we are, not prone to start talking about computer games. So.
I mean, I can talk about computer games for hours, but
I know.
and don't
That's
let me
what it is.
start. Don't let me start about the Bitcoin.
You're a hipster, really.
Oh, I think it's time to end it. Everyone is leaving again. Like so, we have.
Yeah, we are losing them. Okay.
So okay, yeah. So thank you all for visiting and watching our meetups and meetup only first one, and the second one will be 12th of May, I guess, from 7 p.m. Central European Summer Time or Berlin time. So thank you and have a good night. Bye. Bye, Norman. Thanks.
Have a good night. Bye bye.